Yes, guys, how are we doing? This is probably up there with one of the most favorite and popular infographics that I've actually created within our program. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to actually pull it onto a YouTube today to kind of walk through it because, in essence, it's an analogy presenting the importance of making sure that you are actually taking people on your journey in life, taking people on your journey in business, taking people on your journey in fitness, and the importance of it, right? So as an initial starting point, what I like the most about this is it's got multiple different contexts because in essence, this is what happens in life when people will treat you differently when you're doing nothing compared to when you're working hard, compared to actually when you get to the top. So there's so many different lessons to learn just from looking at this and processing it alone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically start right down at the bottom, right? So when we're basically looking at the bottom, please understand that I know that this woman is 1/3 the size of a mountain, so it's definitely not in ratio, but I want it to be really, really clear at the stages. So in essence, we've got these two people who are at the bottom there, and obviously we've got the third one over here. So in essence, the person who's at the bottom here is, in life, they might be in a great situation, and this is about storytelling on social media, right? Always refer back to that, right? So if you are basically not talking about your life on social media, you're not talking about your business on social media, you're not talking about your fitness on social media, this basically leaves you in a position where people do not give a fuck about you, right? This is nothingness. This is no man's land, right? This is basically more than likely the same spot that your audience is actually in themselves. So why would they feel inspired and motivated if you're not actually presenting what you're currently doing and where you've come from and everything else, right? People are going to be actually following you and buying into your journey for motivation, right? More often than not, you will have followers who will follow you because they like the value, but they also want to have inspiration and motivation for them to get to a point of actually taking action, right? So if you're in a position on a baseline starting point right now, where in essence, you are not really talking about your life on social media, you're not presenting what you're doing with your business on social media, you're not presenting what you're doing with your fitness, this is complete and utter no man's land, right? This is more than just about presenting story mode and storytelling. This is about you making sure that your personal brand and your story is really, really prevalent when it comes to actual social media, right? Now, what we've got to look at from that point is going up to the next mark. So the next mark is obviously going to be in the middle ground. So this is basically where you might not be where you want to be in life and business yet. You might not be where you want to be in fitness, but this is the fucking most important part, right? This here, right? This is where I want you to live and breathe when it comes to storytelling on social media. I want you to be talking about what you're actually going through in life, talking about what you're going through in business and what you're doing, talking about what you're actually going through with your fitness, because it's the journey that people fucking attach onto, right? So when we're basically looking at this, right, what people are looking for is this person actually going to make it to the top? Is this person going to make it to the top? Is this person going to make it to the top, right? It's the suspense of actually watching and processing that journey that gets people to actually buy in and digest it and consider and basically see you as a valuable asset to digest your content because they're interested in what the fuck you are doing in your life. They're interested in what you're doing in your business. They're interested in your fitness because they are bought into the journey, right? So when we're basically looking at the variables here is people do care about it, right? So they care about it because they want to see and feel the struggles, right? They want to see what you're about. They want to see if you've actually got clear evidence to showcase that you've taken yourself from A to B to C, right? So when we're basically looking at transparency and openness and getting people bought in, right? As a starting point when it comes to life, right? Yeah, I'm not saying that you need to talk about all your problems and everything when it comes to social media, because I definitely don't do that. But I'll also be open and transparent when, for example, like I've had a baby recently, pressures of business, sometimes like obviously things with ADHD and where that has maybe got on top of me in the past. But in essence, like being a little bit more open and transparent about talking about where you are currently in life compared to where you're wanting to go is going to get a substantial amount of buy-in. And then when we're basically looking at this top point, right, this is an area that I see so many people going like, I work with like top level businesses, guys, like, so you're talking like multi seven figures, multi six figures, you're talking silly level status, right? And I can tell you that a lot of these people actually feel uncomfortable talking about their actual wins when it comes to social media. And it's the wrong way to look at it, right? People care about triumphs, right? People care about what you've actually conquered and overcame, right? People are invested into you, and they'll love to see your wins if they're invested into you, because what it'll basically actually enable them to do is look at their own life and think, actually, wait, if X, Y, and Z person's gone and done that, then why can't I? Right? That is what this all comes back down to, right? When you've basically got the overview of what we're looking for when it is a journey, right? So when we've got a journey, all we want is attachment. If we can get people attached onto your journey when it comes to life as a starting point. So if I just put down life underneath, so if someone's actually attached onto you in terms of what you're going through with your life and what you're wanting to achieve and everything else into that front, right, that's going to be people actually bought into your personal brand, right? If you are presenting your actual journey when it comes to business, then that is going to be people who's actually going to be bought into your actual product itself and your actual offer. And then when you've got people who are actually bought into your fitness, you're going to have people bought into the fact that they're actually going to be more motivated and inspired because of what you're showcasing and how you're showcasing it and what you're educating them on, right? The journey is the single most important element that you need to do to build out community, build out culture, and build out content strategy that actually does have kind of high engagement. So when I've put down at the bottom here is the journey is more important than the destination, right? So when we're looking at the journey, so the journey in essence is basically this space in here. So where you are right now, wherever you are in life, business, your own fitness journey, where you are in business, anything, it does not fucking matter. If we get loyal followers and loyal buying at the start, we're going to have more interactions, more engagements, more comments, more shares. So the more open that you are about where you are at that current position now in life, where you are in your current position in your business, where you are in your current position in fitness, right? The more buying that you're going to get when it comes to actually taking these steps forward to achieve that next stage, to achieve that next milestone. Because what this here is, when you've actually educated and spoke about how you're going to take steps up in life to this point, this is going to be inspiring. You're going to talk about problems. You're going to be giving people solutions. You're going to give people value. And in essence, you're going to basically actually motivate and inspire people based on what you're trying to go through. When it comes to business, right, the more someone's bought into your mission and your vision, the more that someone will actually feel aligned to what you are doing long term. And when it comes to fitness, again, people are more than likely following you because of that. So the more open and real and transparent and authentic that you can be when it comes to getting from this stage to this stage and showing people the step-by-step journey that's basically allowed you to get from the bottom to the top, right, is going to put people in this situation where they think, well, I'm here right now, and I've just seen them go from there to there, and I've just seen them going from there to there. So why can't I do that, right? And this is not just about like what I've basically put down, which is you here. So I'm just going to put a bracket and put you. But this is exactly the same when it comes to your clients, right? How can you actually get people bought into what your clients are going through in their lives? How can you get them bought into what you're doing with them inside your business? How can you get them bought into what you've actually done with their fitness journey, right? The journey, right, is all about the personal brand. It's about storytelling. Storytelling isn't here's a quick fix framework, right? Storytelling is about how you create a narrative over 365 days a year, guys, right? So when you're looking at different kind of hero, you've got hero format for storytelling, which I have actually done on another YouTube video. That's great, right? And that's great because that's an individual post. But what I'm basically looking at here is we're looking at how we can build this journey over, and I'm not going to do this until it's a full year, but every single time you post, every single time you're on your story, every single email that you send out, how can you keep people bought into what is actually real and what is actually happening right now in your life, in your business, in your fitness? If you look at the top level content creators out there, so if I name a few of my clients, you've got like Sean Casey, Beth Dobson, and Sarah Catterson. What do? They're basically showcasing what their journey has been, showcasing what they're going through right now, talking about where they are going, right? They're making it about them. They're making it about their life, their business, their fitness. So that'll then in turn get people bought into this as much as humanly possible, guys. Yeah. So when you're looking at, right, where do I actually go with my content right now? Yeah, it's about content is about skills. Without question, it's about skills, it's about creativity, but most importantly it comes down to actually what the fuck are you talking about, right? If you're talking about something which is high valuable, if you're talking about how you're getting from A to B to C in life, business, and fitness, and you're educating people on that journey and being real, open, and authentic and transparent, how much more buying are you gonna have for your personal brand, for your business, and for support with your fitness journey, which all in then turns to more conversations, more interactions, more engagement, right? So when we're basically looking at storytelling, right, storytelling is all about a narrative. Right? I like that. I like using the word narrative, because a narrative isn't just something that you have to say. A narrative is something that is digested over time. So when you're looking at your content creation process right now, I want you to think about, right, what narrative and what story can I tell people which is actually real in my life? What narrative and story can I tell people in terms of what I'm actually wanting to achieve with my mission and my vision? Based on what I'm doing with my fitness journey at the moment, how can I educate, inspire, and motivate people to get bought into my journey to get from A to B to C, guys? When you start looking at your content creation process like this, the game completely and utterly changes. People are following you, right? That is it. Like, I can't express. They're following you, and they want to know what you can do with them, right? If you can get to a point where you are not only showcasing you, but you've actually got clients where you are getting people bought into their journey as well, this in essence just leaves your offer as the only viable thing that they want to purchase, guys. So when you're looking at your content creation process right now, I want you to think back to this mountain. I want you to think back to these pillars of life, of business, of fitness, and be completely honest with yourself. Am I actually telling people about what I'm going through in life, what I'm doing, the next house that I'm buying, the next car, my next holiday, what I'm planning on doing in terms of, like, obviously settling down with family, if I'm moving to a different location, what I'm working on with my mental health at the moment, what I'm working on with my time management. When it comes to business, what you're doing in terms of developing your program, how are you delivering it, how are you improving it, what you're doing in terms of like developing different structures and avenues associated with your offer, what you're doing in terms of actually things that's going to be coming up with your content. When you've got your fitness, have you actually got a clear goal? Do people actually know that you've got a goal? Do they know what you're doing to achieve that goal? Do they know the struggles that you're going through that's similar to them? That's what I want you to think about all the time is, do my audience actually know what the fuck is going on in your life? Because the moment that they do is the moment that they start to get bought into your actual journey. And as it says down at the bottom as the final point, the journey is 10 times more important than the destination. Because the final one here, guys, is when people get to there, yeah, they're going to be fucking buzzing that you've got to that point, but they want to know what's next, what's next, what's next. So just some considerations to make, guys, in terms of storytelling. Storytelling is not a framework. It's not a single piece of content. Storytelling is about how you can get as many people on board with your life, your business, and your fitness journey over time, and create a narrative that people digest and process to get them bought into you. Because that, in essence, what I'm talking about here is your personal brand. Everything I've spoke about today is all an accumulation to you generating a stronger personal brand. If you generate a stronger personal brand, a journey, and a community, then business becomes really, really fucking easy, guys. So the sooner that you start this now, the better, because this is something that starts and never ends. You keep going and you keep going and you keep going. So again, guys, like another thing with social media content, like I have so many different trainings and task sheets and God knows what to focus on personal brand, because I'm so obsessed with it. And obviously we support clients one-to-one with this on all of our programs. Even in our group program, we have obviously live calls on this. This comes up quite commonly when I'm on my Raw Talk call on a Thursday, where it's a bit more specific and personal. But yeah, if you do want any support with that, guys, please do let me know at any point. I would love to help you build your personal brand and launch it to a completely new level. And if not, that's fine. I'll see you on the next video, and hopefully in 5-6 videos down the line, you'll see that I am different and we are different.